welcome to Frame by Frame, everybody. Andy Lewin's here.
I am. Stephen's here.
And I am. That's it. We're...
There you go. See you next week.
Bye. we turned up. We showed up. Okay, that's enough. That is enough.
What else can anyone ask from us?
Question before we get into everything. Are you looking forward to Alien Earth?
I am. Yeah. Are you?
I am. If you'd have asked me this question before watching Alien Romulus, I would have said not a chance. I would be like, But there is some hope that somebody knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah, and I mean the people who are making it not really put wrong, have they? You know, they've been doing those Fargo seasons, which are brilliant, and that.
Yeah, so it's got potential. So I'm going to go in with an open mind and an open heart and hopefully an open chest.
Oh no, not again.
You talking to me?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Then who the hell are you talking? You talking to me?
I'm funny how? I mean funny like a clown.
I'm Peter Binkman. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Man that doesn't spend time in his family can never be a real man.
Damn.
I'm kind of a big deal.
First rule of my club is do not talk about my
Yeah, baby.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Yeah. So, 1994. We had a jam-packed year for 1993, but 1994 is... Oh, this was a tricky one.
It is. Do you go just full-blown, like, blockbusters? Do you... I don't know.
Do you hit the quiet ones? Do you think that, even ones for kids, or I don't know. It was so difficult. So I might second guess and just change mine at last minute, depending on what you've got on your list, of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's one of mine that I've thought of. I wish I'd had time to have rewatched it, because I've watched it a couple of times, and I don't think it's the best made film in the world, but because it kick-started someone's career, I feel like I should include it in the list.
Yeah.
There's some blockbusters in here, there's something I couldn't, Exactly.
So it's gonna be whatever it's gonna be. It's a fun year, and I'm starting to regret not including one, and that's kind of like the hard part. It's like, do I, don't I? So
I know, and then can you have honourable mentions at the end, or is that just having your cake and eating it? But this is our podcast.
If we can do whatever the hell we want to.
We create the rules.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go for it. This is 1994.
Not that one person that listens to us.
Yeah, and 12 of them are my mother. Right,
you can go first this year.
This year, as if we do one a year. Right, I'm going to go straight in with a deep cut for me. It's Swimming with Sharks.
Okay.
Swimming with Sharks, or otherwise known in America as The Buddy Factor.
Why do you want this? Memories. All my favorite memories have been of movies.
I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you could start right away.
This is so cool.
Every day, something completely different.
Picking up dry cleaning, gassing up his car, getting him coffee, getting him lunch, and he can be, well...
My briefcase, you idiot!
Difficult at times.
It's the most ruthless satire of Hollywood ever made.
You... Ow! Who do you work for?
Have no brain.
Swimming with Sharks.
Come on, people, I'm late for a meeting here. Let's go, 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 go!
I'm not trying to be cruel, I'm just trying to help.
Nothing is ever the same. What he wants, what he needs can change in a second.
Hey, how about lunch?
But he doesn't believe in it.
Fine, drinks it is. Here's my card. Call me when you're done tonight.
A dazzling frightening tour de force by Kevin Spacey.
Avoid women directors. They ovulate. I mean, do I need to say more? No.
Critics call it hysterical.
You're happy. I hate that.
You're gonna make a killing in this business.
Two-time Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey, Frank Whaley, Michelle Forbes, and Academy Award winner Benicio del Toro.
I just need to yell at my mongoloid brain-dead assistant for a second.
For anyone who's ever had a horrible boss,
You got some splaining to do.
you'll love Swimming with Sharks.
That's no way to run a business. This is not a business. This is show business.
You gotta be a man to do this.
So yeah, this is directed by George Hong, and it stars Kevin Spacey, Frank Wiley, Michelle Forbes again. After California, she's really establishing herself as a really good actress. She does pretty well in this. But the story is about Buddy Ackerman, who is a movie mogul. He's basically one of the Weinsteins of the world, but he's just a brute to work for. And of course, our protagonist, whose name I've forgotten. Hang on, Guy. I thought that's like some guy. I thought, no, what's his name though? His name's Guy. I haven't seen this for a long time, but yeah, Guy comes in. He's naive. He's idealistic. He thinks that this is the movie industry, but everything about it is not. Everything that he experiences, it's about getting coffee. It's about doing all the horrible jobs this is like Horrible Bosses in a way. I think that's the only film that's been made since then that's trying to kind of play on that the worst boss in the world kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But anyway, Guy simply can't take it anymore and decides to kidnap and torture Kevin Spacey in fun and imaginative ways as we go through all the different abuses that he actually endured. And it is one of those cathartic films where you could put a name and a face to Kevin Spacey's character from anybody, one person in your past, and you're bound to find somebody who you could actually tie up in that chair and torture. So the film just it does it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
I could think
brings a tear to my eye.
To think of someone from this week I could do that to.
Yeah. Wow. It's fresh.
Oh,
it's fresh. Yeah. But Benicio del Toro's in it in a very kind of non-heroic, non-aggressive part in it. He's quite funny as one of Buddy's co-workers, apprentices. Well, he understands what Buddy is about and he just accepts it. Yeah. And Michelle Forbes is, of course, the somebody who wants to get her teeth in the job and doesn't give a flying F what people think. And yeah, it's just a fun, small film. And yeah, I have a lot of love for this film. It's kind of interesting back in the day where you could just find films that were about filmmaking that turned out to be nothing to do with filmmaking. And yeah, I like it.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think I've seen it,
Yeah, it's got a Frank Whaley in it, who is a small bit actor. He's not a huge name. And that Kevin Spacey actually accepted to do this kind of small film. It's a very small indie film. It was quite a surprise, and yeah, it's just enjoyable to see something just with a little bit it's well written. It's got great dialogue, and it's just, like I say, cathartic, kind of an easygoing Reservoir Dogs.
That's a hellish concept.
An easygoing Reservoir. So there you go. But you haven't seen it, yeah?
I don't think I have, or if I have, I don't really remember it.
Got it on DVD.
DVD.
What
does that stand for?
A digital versatile disc, isn't it?
This is DVD. And this is what happens when you watch DVD. It's a movie on a disc the size of a CD. The picture is twice as sharp as VHS. The sound is infinitely clearer. It looks and sounds like you're at the movies, but you can experience it at home. Not to mention, you can watch it in widescreen, listen to audio commentary, choose from features like director's notes, behind-the-scenes footage, trailers, and more. Watch a movie right on your computer. And rent or buy DVDs from these great Hollywood studios. DVD. See how good a movie at home can be. With over 3,000 titles to choose from, make sure you see your next movie on DVD.
Hey, at least it wasn't a double-sided disc. They were terrible.
That was a bad idea. I had Lethal Weapon 4 was a double-sided disc.
Yes, that was exactly the one that I was going to bring up. Because one side was widescreen and one side was 4.3.
You remember the double-sided disc where you'd have to, like, say it was Godfather or something like that, so you'd literally have to watch half the film and take it out, put the other half in, and watch the other half on the other side?
Yeah, that was...
That was back in the days where DVDs were fresh, and there was those companies where you could sort of hire DVDs. You know, they'd send you, like, 4 or 5 DVDs, you watch them, and then you post them back, and then they send you some more. It's like a subscription thing.
Yeah, Love Film, or even Blockbuster did it for a while.
Yeah, it wasn't any of them two though. I can't remember who it was.
But yeah, discs they had their dodgy beginning in flip side ones, and they certainly learned that lesson. Don't do it.
Don't.
Just don't do
it. Down with this sort of thing.
Yes, we ain't gonna take it anymore. Network.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your first, man?
My first one, as usual, is a film that no one's ever heard of. No, it is. It's a film everyone's seen.
Yeah.
I went for Leon.
Leon, fantastic. Because I was going to choose this and I didn't. I took it out and I was torn. Go for it.
Let's talk business. This guy comes to town every Tuesday. Are you free Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm free Tuesday.
You can't stop what you can't see.
This guy came from the outside. He was a pro. He was fast.
In the art of the kill, Leon was the master.
Somebody's coming up. Somebody's serious.
He never missed a hit. He never got caught.
You're indestructible. Bullets slide off you. You played with them.
And above all else, he never had a reason to care. Until now.
I like these calm little moments before the storm.
My family was shot down by DEA officers.
3 kids here. One of them is missing. Find her.
Please open the door. Please.
From the director of La Femme Nikita.
If you don't help me, I'll die tonight. I can feel it.
An innocent girl with no one else to turn to.
What exactly do you do for a living?
Cleaner.
You mean you're a hitman? Cool.
A perfect assassin.
I need you to help me, Leon. I want to get those dirtbags who killed my brother.
With someone to finally believe in.
Change ain't good. Remember that, Leon.
I will.
They're about to come face to face with the cop who's crossed the line.
Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Yeah, well, Luc Besson directed film. Jean Reno.
Yeah,
who played an Italian-American hitman, but sounds not Italian whatsoever. It's definitely French. Gary Oldman in it. Natalie Portman.
Her first role. It was
her first role. She's amazing in this.
It was a scene. She just comes back from grocery shopping, and she's her parents dead on the floor.
She's her parents dead on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I wouldn't have let you do this movie. I wouldn't have let you do this.
Aww.
See, I think this is bad, don't you? Doesn't it give you the willies, that kind of thing? Give you the creeps?
No, because after, you see them lying on the floor with this fake blood all around, they get up and they're like, hi.
By today's standards, would this get made now? Like, there's a few points in it that I suppose are kind of awkward.
One particular scene that was cut for the North American release but left in for the international version sees Portman's character ask Leon to take her virginity, which suggests that even in the mid-90s, Besson's film gave people the ick.
The idea is if she's fallen in love with him, he becomes this parental figure. So he's a hitman.
Yeah.
He calls himself everyone knows this. He calls himself the cleaner, and he's like the best of the best. He's a hitman, and no one can touch him. He just goes in, does his job, he's out.
Yeah,
you know, no one knows where he's been. He's fantastic. He's good at his job, and but he's got a heart of gold. Bless him.
Yeah, he doesn't do it because he likes the job. He does it because it's necessary.
He's good at the job. Yeah. Now, there's a thing I like about certain Luc Besson films where he likes to have a person in his film who's like the best of the best, doesn't he? And that's the point of Lean on this. He did Kiss of the Dragon with Jet Li, and Bridget Fonda's in it as well, and he's like the best of the best in that. No one can touch him. He's just better than everybody else, and no one can really get the better of him. But the point is this: he starts to let his hair down because Natalie Portman's character, this little girl called Matilda, she loses her parents. So her parents were sort of hiding drugs for
they had what was coming to them, unfortunately, but she had to watch her little brother get killed.
Yeah, and it's really violent. It's a really violent,
is.
Proper 90s violent film.
Yeah.
People talk about it sort of in a dark way now, but
they focus on the wrong things, I think.
Well, I think so, because she develops a love for him because he's like a dad figure that she's never had.
Yeah.
And
never once
reciprocates that.
No,
at all.
There's no Lolita aspect to it whatsoever. She is, of course, confused. She's you know, they have to look at her as somebody who is experiencing PTSD. And so whatever she comes out with, she's mirroring. She wants to mimic him. She wants to become him because he is her salvation. And there's nothing wrong with that. And her mother was actually on the set for every single thing that they did.
And that's kind of the point, isn't it? He starts to train her.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just that I think it's a great film. And Gary Oldman is just that he's absolute peak Oldman, and he's absolute crazy bastard in it.
He is. Yeah, I mean, he actually just stands there, takes cocaine right on screen, and then just goes wappy. It's like he knows.
He looks up at the cameras right above him, and he does that crazy look into the camera, and he just goes nuts. You know?
Yeah.
So I just think it's a quintessential 90s film, and something that, definitely deserves to be on this list, really.
But it does. There is another comparison to Grosse Pointe Blank. The whole classical music in the earphones whilst a gunfight is happening.
Yeah,
there's the same motif in that. Yeah, it's very cool. That's how he focuses, man. That's
Yeah, I'm not sure Gary Oldman focuses very well. But yeah, and it was a big hit. A budget of 16 million. It made 45.3 million.
And guaranteed, if you ever go to London Comic Con or any film featured Comic Con, you will always see a father and daughter duo of a little girl holding a plant, and he's Leon. Yeah. You will always see that.
The dad wants to go as Leon. The daughter doesn't want to go to this, but his parents, look, if you come with me as Matilda, I'll get you that thing you want. Yeah, okay, Dad.
But you've got to hold a plant the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, if you chop it, forget it. It's a genuinely good film, and the action set pieces in it are really well done, very well choreographed. It's super violent. It doesn't hold back by how horrible some of the people are in it. It's got that gritty 90s feel to it.
Exactly. And it doesn't hold back. I think things started to liquidate in the 2000s, really. That's why the 90s were a great decade, because we got everything we wanted in our films.
Yeah.
Everything. And some things we didn't.
Yeah. But I mean, and they weren't dumb. They weren't dumbed down or anything. They're good films. They've got a story to make, quite intelligent. They're not patronizing an audience.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And it's structured writing. And they never once in Leon threw out something and then just completely just said, well, but don't worry about that. It's not going to come up again.
Well, it's like now, it's like, oh, we better not make this film in 18 because not as many people could come and watch it. But this is, I'm pretty sure this film's in 18. Yeah. And it's like the film is what it is. we'll release it. That's what I've got in my head. There you go. There's the film.
That's it.
I tend to pick films that you don't really need to say much about because we've talked about so much.
But no, I think we've got quite a lot out of this one, and again, it was one of those films that I wanted to pick myself, but I kind of left on the back burner just in case.
Who's he's sort of his boss in it? Is it the actor Danny? Is it Aiello?
Danny Aiello, yes, Madonna's father, who's mad at her for keeping the baby.
Yeah, that one. Well, he's another sort of quintessential '90s actor, isn't he? He was scattered through all these films.
He was, it was often with De Niro, sometimes in anything that's got New York or gangster kind of feel. He was with Bruce Willis, of course, doing the heist film Hudson Hawk. Yeah, but likable. You kind of
he's always likable, and even though he's like a tough bloke in it, he's always he genuinely cares. Like at the end of this, where obviously Leon rescues her, but he ends up getting killed.
Yeah,
and she goes to him, doesn't she, and just says like, I want to be a hitman, and he's like, just gives her a load of cash, get the fuck out of here. This isn't for you.
And they still have been trying to get the sequel, Matilda. But the problem is her name is Matilda, and you put Matilda on a big poster, for a sequel instead of Leon, then you're going to have a lot of upset kids who are expecting musical hijinks and magic, and it's going to be Natalie Portman as an adult slaughtering people.
Maybe they have to go like Leon Tilda or something.
Yeah, it's like, The Professional 2, which would be...
Matilda. This time she's pissed off.
Yes. The plant died.
The ending's quite heartbreaking, isn't it? When she ends up going into that school for, kids that, and then she just plants the plant that she's been looking at all that time. It's very moving as well. And
yeah, kind of like Silent Running in that little aspect of this plant means everything to her. This tree is life, but it means that she is focusing on life, not on death. And that's
exactly. Yeah, it's like time to move on. So that's my first pick.
So my second pick is Monkey Trouble.
Eva Gregory wanted a pet.
This is a Rottweiler, best dog in the world.
Her parents didn't.
You're not responsible enough to care for a dog.
But then a monkey named Dodger dropped into her life. He's unpredictable.
Whoa.
Uncivilized.
Monkey Trouble.
No, I'm joking. I was going to start with that one before, but no. It's not Monkey Trouble, nor is it Richie Rich. My second one is basically in the same vein as Leon. It's The Crow.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, just sometimes, the crow can bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
You're all going to die.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Victims, aren't we all?
Right. I nearly went for that instead of Leon.
Well, there you go. We see we're complementing each other in this list, and that's the whole point. Because both of these films, I rewatched The Crow about a month ago, and everything about it felt so right, so bang on. It was a beautifully edited, and yet it's fast and frenetic. It's just as speedily edited. The delivery is still similar to films that are coming out now, but it makes sense. It's got such a good pacing to it. It's Brandon Lee, of course, in his last film. He died by an accident on set. It's all, The Crow is famous because of that fact alone. But his performance in it is outstanding, and he is basically the avenging phantom in a way, who comes back to avenge the death of his loved one, and is determined to kill every single one who was involved in that situation. But of course, there's a cop who is trying to get to the bottom of this, who he becomes friends with. It's kind of like a buddy cop movie with a difference. And there's that little girl again. It's that Leon vibe, but it's the girl who's living on the streets who needs protecting. So there's a lot in common with Leon in that regard.
Yeah, there is.
But the tone is different. The pacing is different, and when you're watching The Crow, you really do feel like you are just watching cinema. The sound doesn't let up. It holds you. And I think it's probably one of the most impressive of the action genre from the 90s. It's probably one of the best. Had it been in 1993, it would have definitely been wiped off all those other action films that we couldn't put in our list last year.
Yeah,
it's a very high octane, strong entry, I think.
It really is. Unfortunately for The Crow, it's sharing a year with some of the best action films ever as well.
Tricky, yeah. But I think only because I rewatched it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in when you've got so many to choose from. But I just couldn't let it go. It felt right.
Brandon Lee didn't get the chance to really pursue, because he's brilliant in this film, but he's not done much before. He'd done a film with Dolph Lundgren, didn't he? Was it like Showdown in Little Tokyo or something it was called?
Something like that. Yeah, there's a couple of covers that I can see Brandon Lee on the cover of, and they were just
the chance to really spread his wings,
his wings. Oh,
unintended. But
wow. But to see the fruits of his labors, it's kind of like it's kind of like River Phoenix in a way, where everything kind of happened after his death.
Yeah. Well, interesting, because this was based on a comic book series.
That's it. There is a comic book series.
I think Leon inspired a comic book series.
Yeah, you see the duality of it all. It's funny. Yeah.
So this was a film based on a comic book, and then Leon became a film that inspired a comic book series. I'm pretty sure it did.
It kind of makes sense, yeah, because it was Leon was an original product, and The Crow was definitely adapted. But I mean, there is the recent film that's come out. I haven't given it a try yet. I'm not too sure if it
absolutely demolished, didn't it? Apparently, critics hated it, and it just absolutely bombed. It's an absolute failure.
But again, it's just one of those things that didn't need to happen. It just didn't need it. They could have just made an original story, and just chose a different bird, like a wren.
Yeah.
Or a robin.
Pigeon.
Yeah, imagine it. The pigeon. Pooping on your sandwich. In cinemas.
What do you hear people cry? You don't hear people crying out for another Crow film. It's not something that you got people that love the original, and then it inspired a few afterwards. You had like Crow City of Angels, Crow Salvation 2000, Crow Wicked Prayer 2005.
It doesn't need it.
Straight to DVD films, not that got theatrical releases, but this is it.
This is it. I mean, that's the thing, and it's one of those things where studios just don't get it. They don't understand when to leave something alone. It's perfect the way it is. You do not need sequels. There's quite a few films that are like that endured the whole sequel mode thing, and it's just very rarely does it ever come back. And like RoboCop is one example of a film that just never picked up, and it also had a remake that just didn't even feel right. So
like with that, it was remake quiet. You know what I mean? It's like they remade it, but took away all the real nasty bits and
the whole point of it. It was just they just
someone melting in radioactive sewage in that film. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Exactly. You ought to watch by the way, sidestepping on that with the RoboCop, there's the Robo documentary on Prime definitely worth watching.
It's called Robo Documentary.
RoboDoc. Yeah.
Yes, brilliant.
It's really good, really in depth, fascinating. But yeah,
every time we mention RoboCop, I can't help thinking about. We've had Chris Tracy's lad here for a few days. He went home yesterday, and he's watched RoboCop here a few times, and he's always like, Andy, come in, Andy, come here quick. I'll come in the film. He go, watch this, and it's always the part when that guy's melting. You went, oh, how cool is this? Every time I think of RoboCop, is just watching Chris's face watch that guy melt. Am I going?
I think it's your go, yeah. What's your number 2? Please say it's Monkey Trouble.
My number 2, I've gone very mainstream, but I've gone for Speed.
Yay! Oh, thank goodness, because this is the one I was regretting not putting. Yeah,
oh, right, okay. I mean, this has got to be one of the greatest action thrillers ever made.
All right, pop quiz. Airport. Gunman with one hostage. He's using her for cover. He's almost to a plane. You're 100 feet away.
What do you think? Shoot the hostage.
What?
Go for the good wound and he can't get to the plane with her. Clear shot.
You're deeply nuts, you know that?
All right, gentlemen, what we have here are 13 passengers in an express elevator. Bomb's already taken out cables. Bomber wants $3 million or he blows the emergency brakes.
Anything else that'll keep this elevator from falling?
The basement.
He can strike anywhere, at any time.
Will the mystery guest please sign in?
Why are they messing with me? Do they think I'm doing this for fun?
For LA cop Jack Traven.
Tell me again, Harry, why did I take this job?
Come on, 30 more years of this, you get a tiny pension and a cheap gold watch.
Cool.
The game began.
Very exciting, Jack. Some close calls, huh?
When someone put the city of Los Angeles to the ultimate test.
Pop quiz, hotshot. There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. If it drops below 50, it blows up. What do you do? What do you do?
Now.
Are you insured? Yeah, why?
He's the only solution.
We just got a ransom demand from your terrorist. Says he's rigged the city bus. Where's Jack?
Where do you think?
Stay on or get off.
Get off.
This is much better.
Everybody hold on!
Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock.
Pop quiz. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do?
Speed. Get ready for rush hour.
It's a perfect film, Nick. It really is. It's absolute fun. I mean, the plot, come on, you know, you got Dennis Hopper's fantastic in it, by the way. But it's just, you know, it's a great idea.
It is.
You're on a bus. It gets to 50. The bomb's triggered. If it goes below 50, it goes off. You've got to keep it above 50.
And that was the pitch. That was all they needed for the pitch. Yeah, everything else just was just a bonus. You know.
Yeah.
They couldn't fuck it up.
No,
really.
Simple idea, but really good. I mean, it's a part that's perfect for Keanu and his certain kind of acting that he does.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have to emote.
He doesn't have to, but it did change his path a little bit because he was kind of doing like dramas and Walk in the Clouds, kind of like romance.
And also, yeah, he was because obviously he'd done Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted, yeah.
Surfer dude, you know, and all that stuff. And so he was either like a complete that, or he was trying to change his way, wasn't he, and try and do some dramatic roles. Say, I'm a serious actor.
Yeah.
But then also he becomes an action star, which he's still a massive action star.
And now he's even bigger as an action star. I mean, Speed might not have been the biggest platform that he actually jumped off, but you know, John Wick has certainly been made, and to be honest, John Wick has saved Hollywood. You know, it's done a lot more than just propel his career. It's kept people to go into the cinemas, you know, to see sequels.
I mean, if he hadn't done this, I doubt he would have got the Matrix gig.
Yeah, definitely. Matrix. I mean, what?
Yeah, Matrix. Jesus Christ! You know how incredible is that film? So
he was Jesus Christ. That's the whole. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he made Dracula at the beginning. Was it 1992 with Francis Ford Coppola, and he was mocked for that film. He's like, he was wooden. He couldn't act. He couldn't do it. You know, and I think he really needed to show people that he could do this. And yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, and he clearly took it serious because, you know, he bulked up for it, didn't he? He hit the gym and all that. But
yeah,
I mean, but him and Sandra Bullock together is fantastic. Dennis Hopper's fantastic in it. It's just that absolute.
Jeff Daniels is in it too.
Jeff Daniels, that's another big film for him this year. That he's very different in this film than he is in the other
different. Film. Joe Morgan's in it as well, the guy from
Joe Morgan.
Terminator 2, I think, was it?
Yeah. Right now, Stephen is coughing.
I had to crank down the cough. I've got a bit of a cough at the moment, a bit of a cold. So, yeah, you can tell because of the sliding.
Yeah, that's what it is. Sliding on all the spots.
So, with Speed, did you also start wearing shirts unbuttoned? And did you start wearing black jackets and did you start to feel like you could be as cool as Keanu?
In a word, no. But I did start wearing bulletproof vests all the time and putting bombs on buses, so I was definitely influenced.
Oh, you were influenced in a different way. So you weren't chewing gum all the time and trying to, you know.
The other road tried to kill loads of innocent people because angry at the bad pension had been given.
And a cheap gold watch. Yeah.
Yeah. But this film, I got, so my mum and dad's neighbour, Mike, he used to run a video shop and he used to get dodgy copies of things, you know, like pirated.
Yeah.
And I first watched this as a pirated video and it was just about legible. You could just
enjoyable.
It.
Yeah.
And that was enough to just hook me into the film. I thought that even watching it like that, I thought this film is amazing. And by today's standards, it's still a brilliant film.
It is, yeah. And I can't wait to show Aspen this film because it's one of those. It's easy. I mean, there's the only real violence is when Dennis Hopper stabs that guy at the beginning. Really. I think out of all the film, it's actually not too bad. Well, the lady gets pulled under the bus, but, you know, you don't really see anything too bad. And it's just more fun. It's just fun.
It's just an adrenaline ride, isn't it, from start to finish? Right. And something these guys couldn't try and replicate with Speed 2 Cruise Control being an absolute awful film.
Speed 2 Cruise Control was directed by Jan de Bont, the same man who directed the original Speed, and once again, he shows a lot of energy and originality in his special effects.
What did he say?
It isn't a great action movie, but it's a very competent one, and it gets the job done. I liked it.
I liked it, too.
What did he say?
Well, I was a little nervous there with the way you started out. I thought you were going to knock this picture.
Nope. She was the star, really, more than Keanu Reeves, of Speed.
What did he say?
So you make a sequel, and you have the same star in the sequel. Why not let her be the star? We want to see Sandra Bullock. I mean, is it good career management to hide someone and to give them smaller roles?
I think it's her sense of herself and how she's. I think that they were co-equals in the first picture.
I don't think she should have that.
I don't like the premise that you're making.
But she was the discovery. She was the discovery in the first picture.
That's true.
Yeah. But how about this for a budget? So it cost between 30 and 37 million.
Yeah.
To make. It made 350 million.
Nice.
Quite a markup.
Quite a good markup, and it did. Like with Demolition Man, Sandra Bullock wasn't putting a foot wrong, and you know I think she's had a really good career, and she's so likable in this though as Annie. Cool.
So yeah, there we go. That's my number 2 pick. I think it's a great film.
Nice. So let's go on to number 3. I'm gonna go for a TV movie this time. The Stand.
From Stephen King, the master of suspense, comes his all-time bestseller.
Containment breach! We've had a major containment breach!
virus released by a government mistake. A frantic military willing to stop at nothing to cover up the terrible truth.
The so-called super flu does not exist.
What did you do? What did you people do?
As the plague sweeps out of control, a nation erupts, society crumbles, the end is here.
The monster's here! The doctor's here!
Now, all that remains, the demon, the prophet, and those chosen to survive. Drawn by dreams of an old woman,
Be coming along to see me, won't you, Larry?
the chosen ones stream to Colorado to find their dreams are real.
Help us to be true, dear Lord. Help us to stand.
In Las Vegas, an army of darkness assembles, controlled by dreams of their leader, Randall Flagg.
Go for it.
Do it, Harold, do it! It's time to make your stand.
Molly Ringwald, Rob Lowe, Laura San Giacomo, Gary Sinise, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Ruby Dee, and Jamie Sheridan. Stephen King's The Stand.
So yeah, The Stand. It's a Stephen King book made into this astonishingly long TV movie. All-star cast: Rob Lowe, Molly Ringwald, Gary Sinise, countless others. Can't remember everybody, but it's I think Judd Nelson's even in it somewhere. But it's I just remember watching this as a kid, and I think it's one of those nostalgia things where you pick a film not because it's great acting or astonishingly moving but it's just you lock in. I mean, this is kind of like one of those post-apocalyptic stories that you could lock in back in the 90s, because there weren't a lot of them around at the time.
No, there wasn't.
No, not like now where everything is
in the future. The wasteland.
It's a post-apocalyptic. It's like every game, every film, but this one just felt like it was unique at the time. And not a lot to really say other than great soundtrack. You got "Don't Fear the Reaper" breaking into the start of this film, and you've got the motif of the ravens just scattered across all the bodies, like chewing all the eyeballs. But the book is great. I mean, if you ever get a chance to read the book, it's it's right up there with it. So
yeah, I read it back in college on my Stephen King binge when I was reading.
Everybody has that binge in college. They seem to move on to John Grisham by the time you're 30.
Yeah. When you're reading King, though, so I was like, God, why does he take so long to get going? Oh, here we go, and then that's it. You can't put it down.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He likes his padding. Bless him.
He really does, bless him. Okay, well, my number 3, again, I've gone very mainstream. Now, so this guy had a bumper year this year, and I had to pick what I think is probably his best film of the 3 that came out in 1984.
Gotcha.
So I've gone with The Mask.
The Mask?
Yeah.
This is the story of Stanley Ipkiss.
Stanley, you are the nicest guy. Really, you are.
Yeah. His job is at the bank.
You're 40 minutes late. Now, that's the same as stealing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dickey. It'll never happen again.
He loves his dog.
Come on, bro. Give him to me. Drop it.
He's polite to his landlord.
Ipkiss, do you have any idea what time it is?
You know, Mrs. Penman?
What? Nothing.
And the most exciting thing in his life are his pajamas. But now...
Hey, you! What are you doing down there?
I'm just looking for my mask.
all that is about to change. Because Stanley Ipkiss is not the man he used to be.
Smoking!
The Mask.
Ooh! Somebody stop me!
Obviously, it was a huge thing a huge year for Jim Carrey. He had Ace Ventura. Now, First time I watched Ace Ventura, I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Doesn't stand up too good now.
No.
There's Dumb and Dumber, which is still hilarious, and it's got some really great.
Still got its moments, and it's got Aspen in there. They go to Aspen.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah, this film is just an absolute joy from start to finish. Based on a comic again.
Yeah.
A Dark Horse comic.
Yes.
But what you couldn't think of a film that would play to Jim Carrey's talents like this film. You know.
That's it. It was made for him.
You wouldn't even really need to wear the mask. You could just do it with what you can contort with his own face. But it's a clever little film. It's really well made. It put Cameron Diaz on the map as well, didn't it? Obviously.
Yeah, it launched her career. Yep.
Yeah, but it's just as a vehicle for Jim Carrey, it's fantastic. It's just a brilliant, funny, surreal yarn of a film, you know.
Yes, and it's definitely honouring. I mean, if you were to pick three films, you know, the Mask is probably the one that was the most demanding for him, because it was his own. It was just him in the middle of it all the whole time, and it was a lot of work to keep that makeup going as well.
Yeah, and again, what can you say? That hasn't been said before, but I just wanted to mention he works in a bank. He's a bit of a nerd. And that's again the difference between his character. What's his name in it? Oh, what's his name when he's here?
Oh, okay.
Stanley.
Stanley.
Great name.
Yeah, what a name. That's it. Yes.
Yeah, when he's just in the bank, he's just a nerd. He's awkward. He's a great at playing that. And then when he finds this mask, he just puts it on. He's like, what the hell? He puts it on, and obviously this alter ego comes out, and it's a thing that just sort of whatever you are, it exaggerates everything and puts all your best qualities or your strongest qualities out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's prosthetics and CGI, if I remember rightly.
There was, and I think it was quite groundbreaking as a CGI film at the time by mixing real into the CGI.
Yeah,
and all that. You know, I think it was the invented things for this.
This could very much have been a sidestep with Roger Rabbit as well. There's kind of a lot of like that cartoon element to it.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like the next step in the evolution of that animation mixed in with reality. And it was I do remember this fondly. Yeah, never actually bought it, but I do remember the videotape being lime green.
Yeah,
the actual case as well, and just they really went to town with the publicity of keeping that green. They did do the Mask 2, the Son of the Mask, I think, wasn't it? They did try.
Son of the Mask. Yeah.
Did that do well?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Nope.
He needs to go to a costume party.
Yeah.
So he finds a mask.
Yep.
He puts on the mask. He becomes the mask. And then later that evening, he fills his wife with mask sperm. Is what happens.
Yeah, that's a whole sequence, isn't it? It's a. I've just written here. It's a nightmare of a film. Just like seeing that imagery, and also the fact that like he comes back and the lights go off and she doesn't recognize that he's changed into the mask. But what you didn't notice his screaming, spinning dick coming at you, or whatever would have been going on there.
Yeah. So there we go. Anyway, The Mask.
Yes.
Good film.
Good film. Nice one. Okay. We've already mentioned this, but Clerks is my fourth pick.
That's also my fourth pick.
Is it? Oh.
Salsa shark. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Throughout history, they have been a part of our American life. Men and women who have made it their mission to serve their fellow man. They've worked hard enough. Isn't it time they had their own movie? Clerks.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking customers.
I don't bother them and they don't bother me.
I could do without the people in the video store.
Do you have that one with that guy who was in that movie that was out last year?
You should hear the barrage of stupid questions I get.
What do you mean there's no ice? You mean I gotta drink this coffee hot?
You'd feel a hell of a lot better if you just rip into the occasional customer.
You're a clerk, paid to do a job. You can't just do anything you want while you're working.
Hey, you open? No!
What kind of convenience store do you run here?
Miramax Films presents
You think anybody can see us down here?
Why? Do you want to have sex or something?
Can we?
Clerks. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you.
You hate people, but I love gatherings. Isn't it ironic?
I'm a big fan of all these films. I've got the definitive versions up there with all the sequels. You pair it with Mallrats. You pair it with all of them. Anywhere where there's Jay and Silent Bob, there's a thread. But it all really starts with Clerks. It's one of those low budget movies. It's a movie shop. Everybody wanted to, the convenience store that has the little movie bit on the side there, and it had everything.
It did.
It sold you on that small dream as well, that small American dream where you could just do what you want. I'm trying to remember. Was it the first one that had the hockey match on the roof?
Yep, that's it.
That was still the first one, not the second. So Clerks. It's
great script. I mean,
Kevin
it's not
Smith.
plot-wise, not amazing, is it? It's just basically it's just a day in the life of these people, isn't it?
There's no plot, but I like films like this.
So brilliant and so funny, and
it's weird because I love structure. I love film structure, and I understand script structure. But this doesn't need it. It's some of the best films just don't worry about that as well. But it's when you try and make something out of something that's following plot lines that don't make sense. That's when it starts to get annoying. But this one, it didn't need anything. It had jokes.
Something like 36?
What? Something like 36?
Who are you boys?
Wait, what is that anyway? Something like 36? Does that include me?
37.
I'm 37?
Going to class.
Oh, my God. 37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
it doesn't shy away from anything, does it, at all? It's just a really witty, funny script.
Yeah, and of course, it was shot in black and white.
Yeah, it was shot in the store that Kevin Smith worked at.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they shot it mainly in the evenings when he closed up the shop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He made it for $27,000.
It's a really it's one of those examples of if you've just got a camera and you've got your friends and a few people who can get it out. That's what she said, and then you're done. You just got to have that belief.
Yeah. And he's had a great career. But the thing that cost the most about this was the score. So he made it for like $27,000, but it cost another $200,000 just to get the rights to the songs that they wanted to use on it.
Yeah, it's a huge thing for that.
Yeah, but it made $4.4 million, which is not huge, but it made a lot of money considering how much he paid to make it.
There's a lot like Mallrats, and it's definitely a film that connects you with people because you've got so much to talk about.
Yeah, I love Mallrats. I'm looking forward to it coming up in a year or so.
Is it a year? Is it next year?
It might be.
Yeah, because there's one that I'm going to be talking about next year. That was next year or next week, hopefully. That is right up the same alley, and again, it's wrapped around music, and that's another important thing that sometimes gets forgotten about. It's music is so vital in these films. That's amazing. We both got the same one. Finally,
we did.
Not since 1990 have we had the same one.
No, all those years ago.
God, remember those days?
Oh. Simpler times, mate. Simpler times.
Yeah, I used to wear really dodgy
Obviously, this is on Clerks 2, Clerks 3.
Yep. Dogma.
Just kept it going. Well, I'll talk about Dogma when it gets to Dogma. I love Dogma.
Yeah, and I think that Kevin Smith, sometimes he likes to play it safe and just work with friends, but sometimes he does go out of his way to do something different. And I think more recent films, like, was it Tusk?
Yeah.
Definitely more art house you know, a little bit more out of his wheelhouse and not as funny.
But it shows, though, doesn't it, where he couldn't make, you know, like he made this film. It's not directed particularly brilliantly, but the script's great and it just works. And it, like you say, it's a good cult film. But he's developed his craft through the films that he's made.
Yeah.
I remember when he was making Dogma, so he said, like, someone's given me this thing to look through, so I keep looking through it. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because he's learned how to the craft of filmmaking. They're making the films as they've gone along.
That's it. And it's a detriment to having a good cast. I mean, he locked off his camera most of the time in Clerks. I mean, it was just a locked off tripod shot. Just film what you see in the screen and that's it. Do it. And you guys just roll with it.
Dante is the main guy, innit? What's the other guy called, innit? But, like, they're not very good actors, are they? They're just his friends, but...
Yeah, but that's the whole point. Yeah, Jay, of course, Randall, Dante and Veronica.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, and then Jane, Sal and Bob as characters are now part of the pop culture.
They are, exactly. And there's so much to be said for that. I mean, they are their own brand. It's their own franchise. And, yeah, everybody loves to see them
Yeah, they turned up in Scream 3 or Scream 4, one of the Scream films. They turned in, they were like on a... They're in Hollywood studios in one of the Scream films, and Jay and Sal and Bob are just on a tour, just happened to be there, and they're like, "Oh, that's the news reporter." You know,
Gail Weathers, yeah.
Weathers, yeah, it's great. Yeah,
that's it. Nice one. So yeah, that's going to make the episode a little bit shorter.
I know, yeah. See how.
What we're going to do now? Go on, you go for your fifth.
All right. So my fifth. This is the part that everyone's been waiting for. This is where two worlds collide. This is where our normal list and Jackie Chan Coma come together.
Oh no! Is it
harmony?
Okay.
You know me. I'm Jackie Chan.
Welcome to the Jackie Chan Corner with Andy Lewin. Ready?
Action.
Fight.
De Niro. Wow. Dustin Hoffman. Jackie Chan. I'm Jackie Chan.
This is 1994, directed by Lau Kar-leung. It's Drunken Master 2.
I thought it would be. That's the only one I saw the poster for. I thought, oh, that's the 1994 film.
It is.
Drunken Master 2. Don't cross his path when he's drunk.
I wanted to bring this movie to American for a long, long time ago. And I just don't know when was the good timing. Right now, I think it's a good timing. It's a comedy with drinking. After drink, you fight. But it's not about fighting. It's about the style. It's about how I choreograph all the fighting scene, how I do all the movement, and how I design all the difficult, not big stunt, but more difficult than the stunt. Even you bending back, you have to stay there right away. And all the movement, what I do every shot is a very, very difficult, because when you get drunk, your face get red.
Drunken Master. I mean, what a title.
Yeah, well, based on one of the films he made in 1978 with Drunken Master, which is this this kid who's a bit of a troublemaker, and his parents just ditch him off with this master, and he's got to learn. But this master does this thing called drunken fighting, where you've got this weird way of fighting where you get a bit drunk, and then people think, "Oh, you can't fight," and then all of a sudden you've got all these skills that come out when you're drunk, and that's where it come from. It was a hit in 1978. And it's one of his biggest films. So for him to come back and revisit it for a second one in 94 was a huge thing in Hong Kong.
Big deal. Yeah.
Massive deal. So he had to bring it. And this is arguably his best film, or at least the best film he's done as in fighting. It's got some set pieces in it, and he really trained. He perfected. He got all these acrobatics right. So this is probably about as Pete Chan as you're gonna get.
Pete Chan, and but was it injury free, Andy?
Of course not. No, of course not. Don't be silly. Now this is not, as in stunts, not huge stunts in this. He does get kicked over hot coals and falls on them and has to sort of like crawl over all these hot coals and get to another end. By the time he gets to the other end, the guy kicks him in the face and he goes down a load of stairs and hits the bottom. So
a lot going on in one thing, yeah. A lot to kind of pay attention to.
But I think it took him 4 months to film the fight scene at the end to get it right. He went that nuts for the whole thing. And the fight, I forgot his name now. What's his name? It's not even there. Oh my God. It'll come to me in a second. But it was actually his stuntman is the Ken Lowe. Was it Ken Lowe? I think it was Ken Lowe.
Ken Lowe.
Was he? Yeah, was he stuntman? And he got him to actually be the main bad guy because he knew he was a champion kickboxer. He knew he could do what he wanted him to do and stuff. But
yeah, it helps.
It's got some astonishing set pieces in it. Again, it's all to do with like, you know, people stealing Chinese heritage, trying to take over the culture. You know, saying kung fu's dead now, it's this and all that. But I mean, you know, he's got some acting in it. He's an embarrassment to his dad. But it's all about the set pieces, isn't it? It's got,
it always is, yeah.
Two main one, but they have one at the very end. He fights these three people and he's got this big set piece at the end where he ends up having to get drunk and going into this huge set piece, which is, it's got to be seen. You've really got to see it. But
that's
it's
one to add to the list for sure.
It's absolutely astonishing. It's a genuinely good film. But it's when you watch the ending 20 minutes, and the last 20-25 minutes of the film is astonishing. Highly recommend just actually going for it and watch it. In fact, it's got a fight scene where he goes meeting up with this guy in a cafe and they're drinking. And then they suddenly just realise there's no one there. And they're like, what's this? And they get attacked by this axe gang. And there's like hundreds of them. And we've got to fight them all off. And just what they do, you know, how they do
how
it.
They manage it.
They're all like, they're on the top floor and there's all these dozens and dozens of people coming in. And to just fight them all off to get these bamboo sticks. He tapes it to himself and doing all this fighting. It's like astonishing. Some of the best sort of choreography you will ever see in a film is in that film.
Passion. There's so much passion for this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it.
You need to watch it.
Yeah.
You need to watch it.
And is it worth watching the original first, or can you just jump into number 2 without too much?
You jump into number 2. I mean, and then the first one's good. It's a good film, but he hadn't sort of perfected his choreography at that point. I think the first one was directed by Yung Woo Ping, and it's still very like ha 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 ha, you know, that blocky thing that they did.
Yeah.
Well, this is all kinetic and there's no stopping. It's all that.
Yeah, and he's probably thinking about the situation, especially when you've got masses of people that you have to fight, not fighting them one at a time, and because that again is an old-fashioned martial arts trope of you know, it's the Bruce Lee taking one at a time and then all the rest are just chewing gum waiting.
Yeah, well, that's if you ever watched My Stunts by Jackie Chan. It's where he talks about his craft of doing it. And he said that's what, all those Hong Kong films, it was always that. You see these people going from side to side in the background and then they'll walk in and get the shit kicked out of it. So that's not right. So what he'll have is like, he'll be fighting 3 or 4 people at the same time.
Yeah.
But off camera, there'll be other people that just come into the frame and they'll start fighting them.
Yeah. Rather than having them in a ring, just have them in different positions out of reach. Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Nice.
I think his genius is his choreography.
Yes.
So this was directed by Lau Kar Lung, his name was, but I don't think they quite saw eye to eye, and it's sort of talked about that he left the project, and I think Jackie pretty much directed, but all the choreography was Jackie Chan. And I think that's his genius, is I don't think anyone has been able to portray fighting on screen as good as he can. I think people do it great. Like, I love the Ip Man films and all that, and they're great, but no one has ever really... I think his genius is his choreography, how he can put it together on the screen. And it's never really choreographed before. They'll go in to say, right, what have we got? What can we do?
They do blocking on the stage, on the set, in the moment.
Well,
yes, yeah.
That's why when he went to do the Rush Hour films, the guy, Brett Ratner, who's directing them, was like, what you doing, man? You need to bring storyboard and all that. He goes, no, don't worry about it. And he said they just literally figured it all out and then how to incorporate Chris Tucker into it and all that. And
It's like just telling a gymnast, just arrange everything where you need it and then just do your thing, you know?
Yeah,
just do
exactly.
it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's when you get to the bit, so it's all about like they're like selling Chinese artifacts to the British Council, and they're trying to smuggle it from China to Britain, and they're trying to stop all that, and they're trying to save the heritage and that. And so important history in that, you know, but it's all about the fight scenes. It's a kung fu film, isn't it? You know,
that's it.
And there's kung fu fighting. He's got these different gods of drunken fighting, and one's a lady and he acts like a lady when he fights, one's like this, you know. It's fantastic. Oh mate, honestly, just watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, and that's a double header for Jackie Chan Corner as well. So yeah, well, yeah,
it'll be a short episode, this, isn't it?
It will be for Jackie Chan as well. But
and around this time, he was probably the biggest bankable action star in the world. I don't think anyone could touch him at that point. Well, there we go. So that's my number 5. I didn't want to put it in Jackie Chan Corner because I believe it was worth being in the main.
Jumped ship and it's in. It's all good. Well, my last one is a cracker of a thriller. It's pretty much very similar to Swimming with Sharks, I just kind of realize. And it's also a staged film, similar to Glengarry Glen Ross. It was a film that was meant for theatre. That was an amazing theatre performance. Do you know the answer?
Reality Bites?
Me and my friends, we rented this movie called Threesome. And, you know, it's appropriately named and whatever. And there's a scene where they get together and her mom walked in right as that scene came on. So my friend, like, jumped up. She's like, this isn't Reality Bite. And she, like, got it out. She's like, damn blockbuster. God.
Pretty quick.
Reality Bites?
No.
Right.
It's Monkey Trouble.
Monkey Trouble.
No, it's Time Cop with Van Damme. No, it is Death and the Maiden.
Oh?
So I'm really sorry for all the trouble I put you to.
No problem.
Thanks again and goodbye.
Who is that?
It's the guy who stopped to help me. Yeah, flat in this. Can you believe it?
I forgot to take it out. I drove all the way home before it hit me.
Of course, I'm so stupid. This time you have to have a drink.
You know what Nietzsche said? No. We can never entirely possess the female soul.
What is this?
It's him.
Who?
The doctor who played Death and the Maiden.
You thought that you recognized him.
Thought?
You were blindfolded.
The voice. His laugh.
I don't know you. I've never seen you before in my life. I don't know what it is you think I've done. This is kidnapping. This is assault. We're gonna go to jail for 20 years. What are you gonna do with him?
I want him to confess.
How can I confess to something I haven't done?
You gonna kill him?
We push him off the cliff onto the red car.
We're still gonna know it was murder. What am I talking about?
I'm telling you, it's him. He talked about science and philosophy. He'd like to quote Nietzsche.
Nietzsche? She's mad. She needs therapy. You are her therapy.
I'm not crazy!
Sigourney Weaver. Ben Kingsley. Stuart Wilson.
Tell me, what can I say? What do you want me to say? If I'm guilty, you'll kill me. If I'm innocent, you'll kill me.
I just want the truth.
Death and the Maiden.
Death and the Maiden is a Roman Polanski film starring Sigourney Weaver, Ben Kingsley, and Stuart Wilson. And that's it. It's just those three people in this one house. And basically, long story short, Sigourney Weaver and Stuart Wilson are husband and wife. They live in a remote area. She lives remotely out in the sticks on her own because she struggles. She suffers from PTSD. She's a rape victim. She was tortured and raped during South American regime change at the time when she was younger. And so she's living her time out in the middle of nowhere with her husband, who is very understanding of her needs, her requirements. They're just trying to live the quiet life. And then on the doorstep comes this man, Gerardo, Ben Kingsley, whose car is broken down, and he needs to use a telephone. The problem is Sigourney Weaver recognizes his voice as being one of the men who raped her years before. She's convinced that this is him, to the point where she basically single-handedly knocks him out, ties him to a chair, and then the whole film is her interrogating him, trying to get a confession. Even though we are not sure as an audience whether he is truly him or if this is actually just a mistaken identity, and he doesn't know how to. So it's quite an astonishingly strong film, and it's one of those amazing films that just got missed again. I felt like I was the only person on the planet who watched it.
I've never seen it.
It's really astonishing. It didn't do well at all at the box office. I think the 12 million must have gone into Sigourney Weaver and Ben Kingsley's bank, pretty much. The song that goes with Death and the Maiden is a piece of classical music that plays throughout, because the music Death and the Maiden was played whilst she was being raped continuously over and over. So whenever she hears that song, that music, Death and the Maiden, which is an old classical piece, I can't remember who by, it brings back all the memories, and she then uses that music to try and get him to remember that, that he needed to get him to confess to the crime. And it's amazing. It's very well done. All done in the one set, one place, like Rope, like Swimming with Sharks in a way, very similar. And this was a great film, great soundtrack. Sigourney Weaver at her best.
Wow. Okay, I'll have to see this. The reason I said Reality Bites, I don't know if you've seen that film, but it's got Ethan Hawke, I think it's Winona Ryder,
yeah,
and Ben Stiller, and it was a stage play, and they made a film of it, but it's all done just in the same, just one
place,
and just what's happening between these three people.
Oh, you see, I've never bothered with that, because I just thought it was some sort of kooky teenage romantic thing, so I never bothered watching it.
It's worth a watch. But obviously this sounds harrowing.
It is harrowing. At the same time, it's kind of, the details are all coming from Sigourney Weaver's memories. So her retelling about what happened and how it happened. You never really look at a broom handle in the same way.
Okay,
that's all I'm going to say. But it is despite what it is and what it's telling you about, it's just, you don't know. You just you feel sorry. It's one of those films that makes you think, if this is a case of mistaken identity and Ben Kingsley isn't the guy, you feel sorry for him. But then, are you feeling sorry for somebody who could very well be him?
Yeah,
and it's like it really splits you as an audience member, and that's the kind of experience that makes this captivating.
Have you seen the film Prisoner? Or Prisoners? It's called Prisoners.
Prisoners. Is that Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
So what that is someone's kid's gone missing. Hugh Jackman's kid's gone missing, and he's convinced it's this bloke, and he gets him and he tortures him in the cellar. And the end of the film, I think the guy, not to give too much away, but I think the guy they torture him that bad that I think he dies or something like that. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But it implies at the end that they have the wrong guy all the way through.
The wrong guy.
But you just don't know, and they leave it open at the end of the film.
Well, that's tough. That's tough.
It's a tough film, but having like mainstream actors in it to do such a tough film like that is
yeah. It would have been an even worse twist if the guy who that actually torturing, if it was years later that it's actually the son after all who went missing. That would have been even worse.
Oh, that's kind of old boy territory now.
That's dark. Yeah, it's a very similar kind of thing. Yeah, and it's probably also kind of a locked off kind of a small production, but it's that whole idea of mistaken identity. And it's like playing Cluedo. You know, it's you just don't know who did anything, where, and what with. Well, you do know what with, and that's again Roman Polanski. Love him or hate him, I think his movies are always quite powerful, quite on point, and he knows how to direct big. He also knows how to really focus in and direct small as well.
He does. He's an astonishing director. You can't take that away from him.
Can't take that away from him. But yeah, we could have mentioned so many other films. We didn't mention Maverick.
No, we did. I thought you were going to because you got the book.
Well, I had the book, but it's not. Yeah, it's a good film. But I don't know, maybe it was one of those films that I wanted to put in there just to have a bit of levity, a bit of lightness. But we got Clerks, we got The Mask. So
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
The Shawshank Redemption, is it one of the best films ever made?
When you get lists coming out of especially Empire Magazine or Total Film, then they always kind of put Shawshank or Citizen Kane. They're good films. I mean, it's a very
great.
I mean, Citizen Kane is also a great film, but it's different. It's not for everybody, and The Shawshank Redemption isn't for everybody.
I mean, it's an astonishing film, but best film ever made? Not sure.
Yeah, I think it's up there, but it's there's that there's so much to you almost as if you feel bad not to like it, like Schindler's List. You can't say that that's a bad film, because you automatically feel anything that covers that subject matter has to be important and vital. So there is that.
I mean, we've got Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump.
Yeah, everybody. Legends of the Fall as well. I was told to include that, but I haven't seen it, so I should do, but I have not seen that one. Nell with Jodie
Little
Foster.
Women. I nearly talked about Little Women, but there's versions of Little Women I prefer better than that one. True Lies is a good film. Miracle on 34th Street, I think, is a really good remake. Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, again, we actually did talk about that a little bit when we talked about JFK, because you did prefer JFK to Natural Born Killers because of the style over substance.
Yeah.
There's Wolf.
That's all
Wolf with Jack Nicholson, which is a nice kind of small movie about werewolves. But of course, we had Frankenstein as well, so we were kind of really going into those old school horror motifs,
Yeah. Disclosure. It's all right.
Yeah.
Naked Gun 33 1/3.
That's when things started to slip up in terms of I mean, we did miss on Airheads as well, which I thought was for a music comedy was fairly okay, but I just don't remember it.
I've watched it and remembered certain bits were okay. I mean, there's Ed Wood. There's a good film.
That's a great film, and I struggled to think about putting that in there, but then I'm thinking, is it great because of what Ed Wood is? The whole idea of him being the low-budget filmmaker who is a schlock B filmmaker, and of course it is a great performance by Johnny Depp. But again, it's been given a lot of praise, and it continues to get a lot of praise. It's people know it and love it, and it is good.
But yeah, I'm happy with
where we've gone.
List.
Yeah. Wish I had a little bit more to say about The Stand, but it kind of self-explanatory. Again, it's just like it's an enjoyable film. Go watch it. What else can you say?
And it's hard to sort of condense 5 to 6 hours worth of a miniseries into a 10 minutes talk about a film. So
if we were to do a single episode and talk about just The Stand. We hit a lot more notes, but yeah, that was 1994 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What will 1995 bring?
Oh, as if people don't know. No, I don't think they do. Well, they might not know.
They don't know. Well, I don't know what I'm going to pick yet, so they don't know.
No, I know. I can't wait to get on that list. I've not looked at 1995 yet, so
not a chance. Yeah, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, it'll be fun to just go through that list and remember. Try not to miss anything.
There's a film there I know you'll definitely pick.
Oh, is it a blockbuster or is it a?
No, it's a Sigourney Weaver film.
Will I?
Oh. Right. Okay.
Yeah. This is the most.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be good.
Make sure you get a good night's sleep Wednesday night.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make sure we pull up all the information.
Yeah.
And we'll be 110% ready. So nothing to add for Jackie Chan Corner. Just go and watch Drunken Master.
Well, that's
2.
what he did in 1994 with Drunken Master, probably because he didn't have any time to do it.
And he was starting to make big deals with Hollywood, I think.
Yeah. Well, the next year is Rumble in the Bronx, and that's his breakthrough, really.
That is, yeah. So you never know. We might talk about that.
Probably.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming back for another year.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
And next week, 1995, everybody.
Woo.
Strap in.
It's going to be another year.
It's going to be another year with different numbers.
Yeah. Wow. Exciting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it.
Thanks, Andy. Been a pleasure as always.
Buddy.
Over to you.
Tom Cruise.
I feel the need for speed. Charlie, don't surf.
This is fantasy.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Quit griping.
I like griping.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.